We're going live. Okay, we're live. Hello. Yay. So sorry, Steph and everybody else. I don't know what happened, but these technical difficulties happen all the time with things like this. So, hello.
Hi.
Welcome. And I hope that we have other people here. I'm going to just bump over to the group while we're chatting and see if people are posting comments or questions and asking where the heck we actually are.
Okay. And I had a lot of people really excited. They couldn't make the live event tonight, so they wanted to get the link later. So I'm really excited to share that too.
Yeah, absolutely. The link will be live and it'll be on YouTube, and we can share that with everybody. So, but thanks to those who are here. I see we have a couple viewers, so that's exciting. So hi, folks. And during the chat, feel free to click over into the event. If you're not sure how to post questions, there is a group chat feature, so feel free to post there or the Q&A. But you can also go just to the group event page if that's easier. So feel free to do that. I will be keeping my eyes peeled to both of those to make things simple for us tonight. So yeah, first of all, welcome to Stephanie Keenan of SK FitLife. And I'm so thrilled to have you here tonight on our Brand Love Spotlight and to just talk about your story and sharing how you got here with what you're doing, your laptop lifestyle, your incredibly successful business, and just coming up with some insider tips and things to share with other people so they can get inspired too and figure out how they can perhaps, conquer a fear that they have and go after their big dream. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here today.
Okay, so I'm Stephanie Keenan, and I will go way back. I like giving this brief history just because it's such a variety, and I've kind of seen and done a lot of things, not everything by any means. But so I grew up in the country in Missouri, kind of on a farm, not kind of a farm, it was a farm, but a grain farm, so we didn't have a lot of animals other than pets. So I lived there until I was about 12, and then moved to the suburbs of Kansas City. And as soon as I turned 18, I graduated high school and I moved to Florida. And I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have a job. I wasn't enrolled in school. I just moved there. And I went to school, or I worked for 1 year to get in-state tuition or residency, so I didn't have to pay out-of-state tuition. And then from there, I ended up kind of coming up with no other options because I was working all the time to pay for school and pay for my way. I had to pay for everything. So I was working a lot, and I really couldn't take the classes for this. I wanted to be an engineer, right? So I couldn't take all of the math and science classes that were required because they were 4 or 5 days a week, and I was working so much. So I took classes like 2 or 3 days a week. So anyway, I was kind of out of money and out of options, and I ended up meeting somebody who had been in the Navy's nuclear program. And so I thought, oh, they'll pay me to go to school and they'll give me a job. That's awesome. Sign me up. So those were the hardest years of my life. I signed up for 6 years. I was enlisted in the Navy. As soon as I enlisted, I went to boot camp, but then I ended up coming here to Charleston and went to the Navy's nuclear power training program here. It's a couple years long. Then I was stationed on an aircraft carrier in Seattle. And then once I got out of the Navy, I came back to Charleston for a few years, to Philadelphia for a few years, and during those times I was working as a defense contractor, but I really wasn't fulfilled. I'd always been athletic, and I was more of a cardio queen, so I did tons and tons of triathlons and actually qualified for the 2003 duathlon world championships. I was hardcore cardio. And then when I moved to Seattle in 2003, it was so rainy all the time, I had to come up with something else. So I started lifting weights. And then once I got back to Charleston, around the 2007 timeframe, I started training for fitness competitions and started doing that. I had a passion for fitness. I started coaching competitively with my team. And then it was my friend Laura who, she said, well, why don't you launch, I knew I wanted to do something online, and I thought it was going to be more in the technical field with nuclear engineering or defense contracting or something like that. She said, why don't you do something with fitness? Why don't you do an online fitness business? I guess I could do that, couldn't I? So, so I put it all together, and my business is lifestyle based, so no more of the competition stuff. I launched my business in January of 2012 and quit my job 4 months later in April, and then I moved to Costa Rica for about 5 months. actually 5 months exactly, July 20th to December 20th. Came back, spent a few more months in Philadelphia, and then ended up back here in Charleston. So I've been back here just over a year, and I love it here.
Well, it's not a bad place to be, is it? Definitely from seeing your beautiful posts of paddle boarding and Cosmo, your beautiful little dog playing out on the beach and stuff, it looks like life is pretty good for SK FitLife.
It's good. It's good. It's not easy. But it's good.
So let's talk a little bit about, because you make it sound really simple when you talk about this journey. And first of all, folks, let's just note that she was like a nuclear scientist, for God's sakes. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me anyway, and pretty amazing at that. You survived real life boot camp, and just like, you're an amazing force. And so it's really exciting to have you here today to talk about your story. But I know that it wasn't an easy road for you to get to where you are now with your business, and there are probably a lot of folks thinking, like, I don't know how I could possibly even consider doing something like that. Like, they may have a skill, they may have, something that they're really passionate about, that they know a lot about and they could teach, but they have no idea how to begin. So how did you physically begin? Like, what was the first thing you did? How did you get your first client?
Okay, so it started with a lot of very dark times, and a lot of people who knew me during that time and know me now, they're like, it's so day and night. I mean, I was so unhappy. There were so many days where I would cry on my way to work. I mean, just sobbing. And there were times where I was like, if I kind of got into an accident, like, I don't want to die, but maybe it would keep me from going into work. And I worked with great people. I was that miserable. I was so unfulfilled, and I was just not happy. So I really wasn't happy in the Navy. I wasn't fulfilled there. It was very challenging. I love that part of it. I love the teamwork aspect of it. But really, like, it is what it sounds like. I mean, nuclear engineering, so it's super high stress. Everything is very detail oriented, and everything's done indoors. I didn't realize how much of an outdoors person I was until I was held captive. But it was great. I wouldn't take that back. So I did that, and then once I got out of the Navy, I actually spent the whole year here in Charleston bartending and driving a beverage cart on the golf course. And eventually it got really old to hear the golfers say, "Oh, are you in school?" "No, I'm finished with school." "Oh, what'd you go to school for?" Expecting something that is hard to get a job in. And I said, "Nuclear engineering." And they're like, "What?"
That's the average caddy story, right?
Yeah, that one. So anyway, then I finally got a job as a defense contractor. So once I did that, I thought, this will be good. It'll be a little different. I worked on some different projects. I thought that the thing with the Navy was that I deployed all the time, so now I'm at home and I'm still unfulfilled. So I started listening to audiobooks, and I would say that was the best. Just finishing my projects very quickly and having just extra time at commuting. I started out listening to the 4-Hour Work Week. I think I found that from escapefromcubiclenation.com. So we're looking back at like 2006 here. And then I also used to listen to all the podcasts from Internet Business Mastery, which I was interviewed by them and on their podcast when I moved to Costa Rica, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So just a lot of books, reading books, or listening to books. I was listening to them like when I walked my dog or commuting, something like that. And so really I found a lot of my philosophies through the 4-Hour Work Week. So I knew that I wanted to have time freedom, and I wanted to have location freedom, and then obviously financial freedom, but really that I feel like ties into everything else. It really makes a lot of other things free in your life if you're not worried about money. And so that's really how I started looking at that. And I started listening to stories of other people who had done what I wanted to do. And I was never jealous of them. I was like, oh, that must be nice. I think that's a huge that's a huge piece right there, right? Like, you can feel like, oh, it must be nice, or you can go, ooh, I love what you're doing. How can I do that too? So any of that stuff, I hear it a lot. People say, oh, it must be nice, but yeah, it just once even if you have that feeling, that's an honest, legit feeling. just dive deeper into it and figure out how you can do what they're doing, because they didn't just get it handed to them either. It was tough, I'm sure. So anyway, so just reading a lot of books. As far as physically launching my business, there were a lot of years in between there. So I started this in like 2006. I didn't launch my business until 2012. So the really big piece in there, the big, huge defining moment was when I met Laura. And she really pushed me. And I remember pushing back and saying, I'm not going to be ready in time. She was like, I don't care if you're ready or not, you're launching. And I was like, oh, okay. For the first time, somebody was telling me that. So I would say that finding that person who is going to hold you accountable and push you and believe in you, especially if you're doing something online, most people don't understand it. And so I stopped explaining it to a lot of people. If I could see that they just didn't get it, and I was like, okay, that's fine. We're just gonna. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll talk about it, but that a lot of people just don't get it because it's quite foreign.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing? I mean, it's limitless, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. So that's really poignant, and I think kind of highlighting the need to ask for help. And so I think talk about that a little bit, because that's kind of a theme. Obviously, you're a coach and you have this online coaching program, and I'm a coach too. I also have coaches, and so it's like that asking for help, recognizing when you can do something yourself and when not to. Can you talk a little bit about that? Obviously, especially in the whole physical realm and the stuff you're doing with people, it really applies.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know how many people know engineers or are engineers, but we think we know everything. And if we don't know, it's a lot of fun trying to figure it out, but that lot of fun trying to figure it out sometimes could be detrimental. So, yeah, asking for help is not my strong suit at all. I asked Laura for her help in social media, and that's what I thought I was asking for, but then it really got the ball rolling. You do need somebody to push you, and those times when you don't want to do something, I mean, for the physical stuff, I think people are used to hiring somebody for physical, but some of these other things, it might be kind of tough to think, oh, I might need a life coach. I might need somebody to help me figure out some direction and that kind of thing. So it will take whatever you're doing, when you hire the expert, then it takes whatever you're doing and explodes by like 10,000. I don't even know. A lot.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that in my own business as well. So let's talk a little bit more about what you do exactly, and tell us a little bit about your brand and kind of what are some of the core values of SK FitLife.
Okay, so my overall business, for anybody who hasn't experienced it, because some people hear online fitness training, it's kind of confusing. I offer, it starts out as a 12-week downloadable program. So you download the training, the weight training, it's in a PDF. There's clickable links to the videos that show you how to do the exercises. The same thing with the high-intensity interval training. There's a meal guide. I'll get to that piece in just a second because that's part of my philosophy. I don't want anybody walking around with this piece of paper that says, well, Stephanie said I can and can't eat that. Like, I want to teach you. Then there's also the mindset piece of it, and there are weekly lessons that goes along with the program. So the mindset is key. There are all these tips and tricks and everything out there, but if you don't have the right mindset for fitness, then you'll never get to that. You'll just have a bunch of tools in your toolbox but not know how to use them necessarily. And then there's also the accountability and support piece and the private Facebook groups. So we have one for the challenge. You do 12 weeks of the challenge. Then you can move over into the monthly membership, which that is anybody who's been through a challenge before. So that's why I have them separate, because some people are brand new to it. Some people have been there for a little while. And believe it or not, maintenance is one of the harder part almost. I mean, because there's so much excitement that goes into the beginning piece, but maintaining that is really challenging, especially for somebody who does not have a big transformation to make. So if you are maintaining awesome, it's hard to maintain awesome. It really is. Right. So we have that group too. So that's the logistics of my business. But my philosophies are, and my tagline is, life begins when you stop chasing skinny. For all those years that I did all of that cardio, for the most part, it was to make up for all of my binge eating. So that's what I did. I mean, I can eat like a champ, and I had to do something to, like, I didn't like the other options. So I worked out a lot. And I realized that it didn't matter how much I ran, even if I didn't eat, even if I didn't overeat, I ran, or whatever cardio exercises I did or classes I did, I never got the body I wanted. So I really, in my program, I really like to impress upon everybody and just really make that connection between nutrition and how you look. Ultimately too, if you do too much cardio, it can really start to damage your metabolism. It's way too much stress on your body, repetitive and not in the right way. So I like to change things up, and the program that I have is very much weight training based, so it makes you very strong for life, gives you functional fitness. And something that is different for my program is that you can be very fit and you can go to all these classes and perform great in those, but it is a little bit different to look fit too. So in my programming, I really pay attention to that as far as trying to look fit and be fit. And there's just some slight changes in the programming, but really it's the added benefit. So you are trying to look fit, and then you also get to feel fit, and you get all of the health benefits. So that's really how I set up my training. And then teaching everybody about nutrition. I don't like those guidelines. I'm very much, I like to give people enough tools so that they figure out what works for them, but I don't like to be told what I can and can't eat, and I'm not going to tell other people. But it's very effective in tell me not to eat it, and then I'll do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then I want it even more.
So bratty. And I got to finish stuff. I don't know about you, but if there's a bag of something, it's gonna go away. So anyway, with the meal stuff, I really like to use positive peer pressure in a way in those private Facebook groups, because I have a lot of people who will say, well, do I have to give up wine? Like, we have a choice. We all have choices. You don't have to do anything, but there are consequences to those choices. So it's much easier for myself to coach people, and for all the other clients in the group, to see if Susie gave up wine, and that's the only change that she made, and she had this happen to her body, well, then everybody else really does make that connection. So I'm not telling you have to, but if you want to get there, then maybe that's something that you have to look at yourself. So I love doing that, and having and really pulling all of these concepts together, because when I was running like a mad woman and eating crazy amounts of food, you can this is so silly. I was in nuclear engineering school. Like, it's not like I figured out nuclear engineering after. I was doing all this simultaneously. But somewhere I had read that the spicier the food was, the more it increased my metabolism. So, but that didn't make up for the, like, I don't know, 1,400 calorie pad thai I ate. That was like burning my...
Yeah, we've all had our pint of Ben & Jerry's in our day. Let's not lie here.
Yeah. So all of my old roommates, y'all are laughing at me right now.
Yeah, mine too. Not anymore, however. Moderation.
No, yeah. So
beautiful. Okay, that's really good stuff. So talk to me a little bit then about, so that's how your program works, some of the things that you kind of implement within your branding. So if there are people here that want to learn about, they're kind of creating a business and the things they're kind of focused on, what are some of the most important things that you do on a regular basis to kind of solidify your brand and provide some continuity with it?
Okay, so I would say the biggest thing is to really figure out who your audience is. I thought that when I launched my business that I would be, I was just a professional woman. I didn't have any children. That was what I did. I worked out and I worked a lot. And so I kind of thought that my natural market would be more women like me. So, and when I launched, I'm 35 now, so it was like 3 years ago, so early 30s, right? So I'm picturing like that age range, professional. And then once I started my I launched my program, I realized that moms are my clients. And I was limiting myself because I wasn't a mom yet. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I learned so much from my moms. And you know what? If I were a mom, then I wouldn't have been able to put that whole entire program together for the moms. So with that in mind, when I launched my initial website, I did have some of my old competition pictures on there. And for anybody who didn't know me, when they went to my website, they thought they would ask the person who sent them there or myself or somebody, now, are you going to train me to do these competition things? So be very aware of even if you do that stuff, if that's not who you're coaching, then that's very far removed from their world. And a lot of them have no desire to ever look like that, ever. And so when you put that in front of them, they're like, oh, no, that's not me.
Right.
So, so really pay attention to that stuff, even if it's accomplishments that you're proud of and that you worked really hard for. If it's not in alignment with who your clients are, then it's probably going to kind of push them away.
So that's really good. That's a really good point about this, focusing on your ideal client and really getting clear on who that is and asking yourself those questions. That's a lot of work that I do with my clients, is helping them really like hone in on who that person is so that they can create and support the needs of that particular client. So thank you for that beautiful point. Tell us a little bit more.
So that is really big. I've also found that it really depends on how much of your own personal life you want to put out there. So I put a lot out. I mean, not everything, but I do a lot. I mean, I show a lot of pictures of my dog, or like in my front yard, in my home, that kind of thing. And just always keeping things fresh, showing different stuff. If you're in the fitness business, people, believe it or not, get sick of seeing fitness stuff from you. They want to know that you're a real person, that you're not a robot who just goes to the gym and just eats clean. I get a lot of really great feedback anytime I just show my real, honest stuff. Like when I eat the brownie or the cake pop or something like that. Right. Just being real. The furniture, I think you can see in the back. That's all. I spent last summer refinishing a bunch of furniture. So any kind of stuff like that, I think, is really good. If you are your brand and you're trying to put that out there.
I think that's good, and to kind of like just build on that for those who are listening, because I know we have folks who are probably in all kinds of different industries and professions. So yeah, tell the world who you are. If your brand is you, which yours is, it's your URL is your name, and I know SK FitLife stands for who you are, and kind of it's close to your heart. We need to hear what your heart is and see your life if you feel comfortable with that. I definitely am careful about walking that fine line in terms of posting photos of my daughter and all that, but I do now and again, because it is obviously the biggest thing in my life is my family, so I do share that at times.
Yeah, and it's great. It's really great. And then I feel like, too, when people see your why or like how you got there, I try to share a lot of that, too. So people who do want to do what I do in some way can kind of see what it takes to do it.
I love that. People need to see your why. That's quote worthy. That's tweet worthy. Tweet. All right, so that actually makes me think about, if you're talking about kind of this sort of core values and branding, I would love to hear a little bit about some of your favorite brands that are out there in the world, just to highlight for us, because I want people to really fully understand the beauty and power of branding. So let's hear from your vantage point what some of your favorite brands are.
I love Lori Harder's brand. I think that it encompasses everything. I think it really hits on the lifestyle. I think she's doing a lot of spirituality kind of stuff these days. That she incorporates fitness into her life. Really, so Busy Girl, Healthy Life. I love that. Melissa Toller with Curly Girl FitLife. I love. So I have a special place for Melissa, though. We used to live down the streets from each other, and like 20 blocks away from each other on South Street in Philadelphia.
I'm jealous. That sounds amazing.
I lived it. Maybe we were only 18 blocks. She was like at 20th, I think. And yeah, we used to meet up from time to time. And I remember one of the first times we met up, she really talked about like like finding the escape hatch. She wanted to get out of corporate America too. And but we also had so many of the same philosophies on the competition world and living and that kind of thing. So I love her brand. It's so neat to be able to share that too. If you have other people who you work with like that, then sharing your friends with your clients is great. Like, so I think most of my clients follow Lori and they follow Melissa. So it was cool when we got to meet up in Philly when I was up there a couple months ago. Some of my clients came to meet me and they were so excited because Melissa Toller from Curly Girl FitLife was going to be there too.
That's beautiful. Well, hopefully they'll join into the Amber Lillestrøm train too, because obviously we're big fans of each other's brands as well.
Exactly.
That's awesome, and I certainly look up to both of those women as well.
And of course you.
Yeah, they've built some amazing brands. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Cool. So, what advice would you have? Because obviously, you know, brand love, what I do, SK FitLife is all about helping people achieve their dreams and like sort of just up-level their lives, right? It's like just make it better, be better, and just be happier, right? Overall, and just with what you have and what is already there, and kind of like having that awareness, I think, is a big part of what we do. So tell me about some advice that you have for the aspiring entrepreneurs, or people just that have a really big goal in mind that they want to go after. What would you tell those folks?
I would say enjoy every piece of it, even the super painful pieces, because without those super painful pieces, the boring pieces of the other side could be super painful if you didn't realize how blessed you were to have those boring pieces, or whatever you want to call them. Because those painful pieces really, when you're going through that, and I remember doing that. I mean, I remember sitting there thinking, yeah, I'm miserable. I need to remember how miserable I am right now, because I know that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Now, it's great on this side. I will never go back to the other side.
Right.
But,
yep.
You know, it's not just green grass. I still have to cut the grass and like mow the grass and, you know, with that cutting.
Yeah. Aerate it and stuff. Yeah.
Aerate it. I don't know. I get fire so, you know, like, so to really enjoy both pieces and recognize when something is so painful. I hear this all the time when people are getting ready to leave a job or a career or something like that. They're like, oh, this is just one final boot out the door. Well, yeah, it is. You know why? Because it's kind of the universe's way of reminding you of how awful that was.
Man, my friend. Hallelujah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
On the other side, you're like, oh, yeah. And so those days where you're like, this kind of, it doesn't suck nearly as bad as that.
That's right. You know, keep it in perspective.
Yeah, exactly. You appreciate it a lot more. And even once you get to that other side, I felt this way. I've had other people feel this way. We were like, okay, so everybody says it's so great. And you wake up and you do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, you bounce out of bed. And yeah, I do. But it's not, maybe it's for some people too. And at some times in my life, it hasn't been as shiny as I thought it was going to be. So like before getting out of it, I envisioned like all these really great, awesome feelings about everything I'm doing, because I'm doing it for me and I'm doing it for my business and my dog Cosmo, you know. So I thought that's what it would be. And then, well, I had a few different life events happen. So it, you know, kept me distracted. But some people just make that transition and then go, oh, it's maybe not all that great, but it really is. And just recognizing where your pain points are, like which parts do you miss, which parts do you need to get back to. You know, like I fought so hard to get out of an office, and next month I'm going to start paying to be a part of a co-working space so I can go to an office and work with people. But it's different because they're
different. Right. Making connections, but it's also your business, and they're working on theirs, and it's co-working. Yeah. It
is. But you know, it's just a little bit ironic because you're like, oh no, I just want to work from home. But even the digital nomad stuff, that really doesn't work so well for me personally. When I'm traveling, I want to travel. I want to fully experience the traveling. And when I'm working, I want to just get it done and work and experience the working and not feel pressure on either side. And I feel like I got a lot of really great work done while I was in Costa Rica, but the first couple months it was hard. I had to get a schedule down. And then for the last 3 months, it was good. I would work during the week and I would travel on the weekends. But it's hard because everybody's there on vacation. So keep that in mind too. If you think that like that whole digital nomadic lifestyle is awesome, I just don't complain a lot, so I didn't talk about the internet going out, the power going out, or my water going out 8 hours a day. So it's
right. So I think it's right. There's silver linings to every situation, but those who are interested in pursuing the entrepreneurial lifestyle, there are going to be bumps. It's not going to be just like this sparkly rainbow all day long. But I think one thing that this analogy that I kind of talked about today with one of my coaches was, she said, you're doing a great job at everything you're doing, and you have these bricks of all these great things that are really like just a job well done. You have these great endeavors and initiatives. And I said, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. But the thing that I need to continue to work on is the foundation underneath. Because if you don't have a strong foundation, you could build like the Taj Mahal on top of that thing, and it's going to fall down. So talk about that a little bit, because obviously having a solid foundation, when you head into all these things, dealing with new clients, people from all over the place, people maybe posting not the nicest things on social media occasionally, like those kinds of things are going to happen. People, So talk about that foundation and the importance of having that solid base to go into this kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah, had I not, are you there? Oh, where did it go? Okay, sorry, it's like going in and out a little bit. Can you see me? I can't hear you. Is it mine?
Difficulties living the entrepreneurial lifestyle. Yeah? You good?
There we go. Okay. Sorry, it's all of a sudden you froze and I was like, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Case in point.
Okay, so a solid foundation. Yes. Like I said, I started listening to audiobooks back in 2006, and that was primarily because I was unsatisfied with work and I was looking for some different things. So that's where it started, and it really started because I was uncomfortable with that one particular situation. Once I moved to Philadelphia, I had a 2.5-hour commute every day. So an hour in the morning and an hour and a half at night, and that was in the summer. So it got longer in the winter when it got dark earlier. In the beginning, I guess I kind of got away from my audiobooks for whatever reason, but I remember the first couple months I was absolutely miserable. And then I jumped back into them, and listening to those books prepared me for so much stuff. I never would have been able to launch my business and run my business and do really any of it without those books.
So how about, I'm just going to pause you because I want to hear some of like the best ones. I know you already mentioned the 4-Hour Work Week. What are some of those other books that really helped you kind of make huge leaps in your business and life?
Okay, so 4-Hour Work Week was mostly like business stuff, really, but the Road Less Traveled was huge. The 4 Agreements, I've listened to it like 6 times.
I still do. It's amazing.
It is so, so good. Let's see, the E-Myth, that goes back to business, so that was a good one, E-Myth Revisited. The Magic of Thinking Big, it's an older book, so when you listen to the audio it's kind of funny. And I would say the 5th top book, oh gosh, I've listened, I don't know, I have like 70 or 80, something like that on my my audible.com account.
Wow.
Paulo Coelho, what's his?
I don't know.
All right.
No. You're talking.
I can't remember now. Those were huge. I also listened to a bunch of speakers. I love listening to Jim Rohn.
The Alchemist.
The Alchemist, that's right.
Yeah.
Jim Rohn. I listened to a lot of his stuff. You can find so much of this stuff too just on YouTube for free. Just Google it.
This is true.
Yeah. And John C. Maxwell, and listened to a lot of his stuff. And then I was actually introduced to them more through Success Magazine. Magazine has this bonus audio every month, and they interview the people that they interviewed for the articles, but you can get so much more in an audio than you can in a magazine.
Right.
So I religiously listen to those.
And you can listen to them when you're working out or going for a walk or driving, and yeah, that's worked really well for me too, to be able to actually get through the books.
Yes, that's huge. And there's something else that happens in your brain when you are physically exercising and learning something. Your brain absorbs it, understands it, comprehends it.
The only problem is you want to take notes and you can't, so you're like, bookmark. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my car, when I had that huge commute, I had notes everywhere, and I was writing on the tops of coffee cups, and I don't think I ever actually cataloged those notes either.
Well, it's worked out pretty well for you, hasn't it? One book I'll add too, I don't know if you've read this one, but I'm reading it or listening to it now, is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Oh, I haven't.
It's a really good one. So it talks about the upper limit theory and how we stop ourselves, how we all have this sort of innate fear of success, and that whole idea of like Daniel Laporte always says that you're always going to be too much for somebody. So get comfortable with it, because it's just the way it is. And so I would recommend that. I would recommend Daniel Laporte's The Desire Map too. That was a huge book for me. It was transformational. But this is about you, but I want to just throw those in because they're...
I just wrote that down, and I did buy The Desire Map.
Dig in, sister. Dig in.
I haven't stepped into that one yet.
That's a good one, and it's a nice one to write in as well, the actual hard book. So let's talk about what's next for you. What new chapters? Where is your brand going? Where's your life going? I'd love to hear about that.
Ooh, I got a lot going on. Okay, so for SK FitLife, right now I'm working on taking all of the information that I currently have, and it's being reformatted right now so that it can be a standalone product, so that I can sell it. Actually, tomorrow morning I have a call with a possible affiliate manager. So my assistant lives in Canada, and then I have a local assistant who holds my hand and helps me do stuff. Then I am going to speak with a possible affiliate manager who lives in India. So I'm working on getting all of my content grouped up so that it can be a standalone product, so that I don't do the coaching in person for those products. That's the limiting factor. And I don't want to hire coaches under me. I want to be me. So I am limiting my number of challengers and my number of monthly memberships. So once I reach that limit, then it's a one in, one out kind of thing. Like when you go to the bar and it's late, and they're like, nope, limit is 1 in, 1 out.
This is a good problem to have. It sounds like things are going really well then.
No, things are going great. I just want to make sure that my quality of service doesn't change. I want it to be there, and I want that group to be there. So then, to make myself more scalable and my business scalable, I can sell those products as affiliate products, and it's a good resource for gyms that maybe they don't talk about nutrition at all, or a chiropractor's office where they don't do training or nutrition, but they need their clients to live a healthier life. And brick and mortar businesses, and I'll get to that point in just a second, like, we're all looking for ways to make money too, right? So why not make that available to them for a commission? That's how affiliate programs work. So that's a possibility. So I'm working on that right now. The other piece is that I am working a lot with local businesses. I've been working with the local fitness magazine, Oblique. I was featured on the cover a couple issues ago, and he asked me to write my article about life begins when you stop chasing skinny. Yeah, so I've done that, and then I started meeting up with a local group of girls. We call them the Oblique Fit Girls with Stephanie Keenan. So I review local businesses. I try out the class on my own. I tell the group what to expect, and then I bring a group there where the studio will put on a free class for us. So it introduces the studio to potential clients, and it introduces potential clients to the studio, and it really is making a great connection between the community, the fitness community. And the one thing that has always, from the very beginning, as soon as I saw it, has not sat well with me in the fitness community because I came from the defense contracting world. I mean, like, it's kind of dog eat dog there. But just in the fitness community, there's so much, some people are kind of territorial, and I believe in the abundance mentality. And just because you own one kind of fitness studio doesn't mean that somebody won't also use somebody else's. So it's really good because it's bringing a lot of business owners together.
Right.
So I'm working on that. I'm also launching another website that is more performance-based, and so that's theathlete.com, ATHEATHELITE. So primarily for SK FitLife, it's busy professionals and moms, and a lot of busy professional moms. But then the other website will be more performance-based. Personally, I'm doing a lot more mud runs and that kind of thing. My boyfriend and I are getting ready to go do a Spartan race this weekend.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be posting some social media from that.
Totally will. Yes. I have so much fun. He totally gets into character, and like, not really character, but he's like, hey, we're going to get some shirts made. So you'll see the SK FitLife shirts this time.
Great.
Yeah, so really my personal fitness focus has changed to more performance-based. So I am really kind of using myself and him as guinea pigs, and just between that and my knowledge and pulling some other things together. So that's launching very soon. Let's see. Those are the really big things. And then I'm also doing a lot more work with wounded warriors. I've been looking I've been looking for some kind of some charity, some cause, something to really connect with. And back in May, I attended it was females only, Wounded Warriors whitewater rafting trip in Colorado. And it was powerful. And then, like one of those lessons from the universe, so while I'm at this event, I kind of expected some people to I don't know. I just didn't expect so many cheery, joyful people, and it was awesome because everybody was cheery and joyful. And the only thing that came up that was not cheery and joyful was how they felt as a female being treated at the VA. And I had always been treated fantastic. So as soon as I came back, I wasn't treated fantastic. I was like, oh no, like I need to pay more attention to this. So I do want to work with wounded warriors, more specifically the women. I am a disabled veteran myself, and it's something that is really important to me. So I'm going to be working more with those organizations too.
Yeah, that's really important. I think if there's a way, I think whenever you're starting to have moments in your business and life and you're feeling super frustrated, and just like get out and try to volunteer and do something outside of yourself, right? It's like, absolutely. I'm part of an organization actually with the same sort of mission as Wounded Warrior called Operation Hat Trick. And we provide hats, but also a lot of funding to wounded warriors. And I just went down to a horse farm a few weeks ago called Iron Horse Farm in Andover, Massachusetts, and there's a PTSD program there, and we're trying to raise funds. So I'm going to donate my services to brand their new program for sponsoring a vet to participate in that program. And I'm so excited to be able to help them do this because I saw firsthand the impact that this program has had on actual veterans that I got to meet in person, and what a profound impact it's had. And they're now volunteering and participating in the program and giving back because it's so important to their life. So it's just, give, right? It's be connected and just listen to your heart, and I think you can't go wrong, right?
Absolutely. And I would have to say, just to piggyback on that, do that for your business too. The more you give, the more that will come back to you. I joined a networking group, and really yes, I need to tell people how my business works and that kind of thing, but really I'm interested in what all their businesses are and how I can refer the people I know to them. So it will come back to you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think, right, there's a tendency when you're new to kind of like hold on really tight because you're scared and you're afraid and you're like, I won't get those clients and I won't get that. But as soon as you start to kind of let the ball roll a little bit and reach out and make connections, you will start getting referrals back that you wouldn't have even thought of, right? And then you'll get people joining your programs and participating and talking about you on social media and getting excited about your brand. So I'm really glad that you brought all that up, because that's important, right? So go out and meet people, and make connections with human beings, not just all online all the time.
Yes. Oh, that is huge. And that's I guess, kind of going back to that foundation thing. So we talked about the psychology behind it, but even just I did all that heavy lifting. I spent all of those hours, weeks, months, a long time behind my computer, creating the training, creating the programs, tweaking my website, or adding things to it. Content creation is really what it came down to. So I did all of that heavy lifting, and now it's all about getting out and being able to talk about it. So that's been really, really big. But I'm kind of hard on myself, and I think like, oh, I'm going out again. But you know what? That's where I make the connections. I mean, like, that's in random places, the grocery store, or I've made a lot of connections at networking events that aren't specifically, like, I'm not there really to tell about my business. I want to learn about other people. So yeah, getting out and having that connection again.
Right. So ultimately, you are a huge, so I want to ask you that question. I was going to ask it earlier, but the connection between you and your brand, and, are you your brand ultimately? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
I know, whether we want to be or not, right? We are.
Yes, whether you want to be or not. And I went back and forth with that too, because I always felt like I was more of a behind the scenes person. Obviously, I did those fitness competitions, so I'm like, no, I'm totally out there. But you know what? I'm not really talking to people. And even when I train, I didn't train with anybody. I trained on my own and an online coach. Like, I'm very introverted, actually. So I did it that way, and then once I launched, I was like, well, it was actually, I had been building my brand during these competitions unknowingly, because I didn't know I was going to do a fitness or a fitness business. Not until, I think it was leading up to that last competition I did. So it wasn't until like 6 months before I launched that I even knew that was the direction that I wanted to go. I really didn't. And I go back and forth, looking back on it. I had a lot of life events happen, and during that time I was like, why am I my brand? Why can't my brand just go on with, but I made it, and I'm better for it. So that is something to consider, though, when you are getting ready to launch a business. I feel like it, and I haven't done it the other way where you're not your brand. But I would have to say, for me, I didn't know any other way, to tell you the truth. Like, I was good at fitness, and I could do coaching stuff, and I was out there. It really didn't even cross my, I thought maybe something technical, but fitness-wise, it didn't cross my mind to make it anything but me. So it is something to consider. I think you do have to, there's nothing to hide behind.
Right. Yeah, and I think one of the things that I really try to focus on my clients is the whole authenticity piece, and being, living in your truth and being real. And you can't escape it. So in your brand, if you try to, put on this persona and be what you are not, and your business is very connected where you're a coach or something like that, you are your brand. And so it's just saves a lot of time to just get real right up front, right? It's just be real out of the gate all the time. You're going to feel better in your gut and in your heart of hearts, and it's just going to have a much longer shelf life, and it's going to feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in the authenticity piece, I really didn't talk about it too much, but a really big piece of my business is isogenics. I just didn't really know how that fit in with my brand and with me, and how I could authentically share it. So it took me like 4 years to really start to share it very much. So
yeah, well, yeah. So talk about just a little brief, what is isogenics for those that are not familiar?
Isogenics is a nutritional supplement. The business model is multi-level marketing. So I was brand new to that, so I needed to learn about that, and so I did some research. But then I wasn't quite sure, because I saw how some other people were branding it or sharing it, and it wasn't that the way that they shared it or branded it or shared it was not really authentic to me. So I really just needed some extra time to use the products, to love the products, to really run out of the products a couple times, like when I lived in Costa Rica, and be like, man, I feel like garbage right now. So it's really, really great stuff.
I just ran out yesterday, so I got it back today, so I can relate.
I know, and then you're like, and I'm okay. Like, I miss it for a couple days, but then like after about 4 or 5 days, I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to like not feel so good. If I run out of vitamins, like my nails, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. So but that is a piece of my business, and it really fit with my business from day one, because I'm a trainer and people ask me like, what do you use? So when people would ask me that, I would share it, but it's just taken me a little extra time to really incorporate it into everything that I'm doing. So I've been spending more time with that too. Yeah,
and again, I think that authenticity piece is super important. So like whatever it is, whether it's isogenics or some sort of method that you're doing things. I have a new client who she's not super psyched about doing videos, and that's like she just isn't there yet on that. But she really likes to write. So I said, let's do ebooks, let's do digital products. It's totally fine. If you force yourself into doing something that is really not authentically you right now, it's just going to come across as not really real, and then in addition to that, you're going to feel uncomfortable and might get disenchanted with it, thus kind of burning you out a little bit. So that's a good point.
Yeah, no, you're right, disenchanted. Yeah.
So we're kind of close to time here, but I want just to kind of ask you, how can people get in touch with you if people are excited about what they've heard today about your business? They want to learn more about what you do. What's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, first of all, I have a new challenge starting on Monday. So if anyone is interested in the 12-week challenge, has the training, the weight training, the high-intensity interval training, the meal guide with linked recipes. I like that. The private Facebook group for accountability and coaching from me. That starts on Monday, and you can find that on my website, which is skfitlife.com.
I think I can feature right now. I'm trying to put it up here, so hopefully I can.
And then it's always Google my name too. A lot of my stuff comes up. I think all of my stuff comes up. There's a lot of pictures. So Stephanie Keenan, and I'm on all social media channels: Google+, Instagram, Facebook. I have a fan page on Facebook too. I'm on LinkedIn, do a lot of professional things over there, and you'll get to see lots of pictures of my dog. I feel like he's a star. He was featured in the Charleston magazine.
Yeah, you just had an article written about him. I mean, hello. He's a celebrity.
I love that guy. He is so sweet. And I even took an ink pad and made him hold up his paw, and then I inked his paw and made him sign the page.
Wow. Wow. I'm just posting your Facebook link as well to this so that people can get your business Facebook page too.
Oh, did you link it there? Okay, so we can.
Yeah, I think I did. I don't know. I guess our audience will be able to tell us if we did or not when we watch it back. But yeah, you are easily searchable. StephanieKeenan.com. So this is fantastic. I'm so psyched about how this spotlight went today, and we had a bunch of viewers on. So I appreciate those of you guys that joined us this evening at this late hour for those of us on the East Coast. But we want to make sure all the West Coast folk could join us as well. And check out StephanieKeenan.com if you have any questions. Is there anything else you want to just share in conclusion with this group?
I think that's all. Thanks so much for listening. I love sharing my story. It's been a wild, wild ride, but I don't know. It all happens for a reason, and just bounce around to figure things out. And I feel like I'm really in my spot. Like, this is where I should be. I feel, for the first time, I don't feel like I am striving to get anywhere, into anything, out of anything, any of that. I feel like it's a challenge every day. I've been working a lot more hours and a lot harder and smarter this year than last year. So it's good stuff. I have a lot of stuff on my plate. Actually, as I was going through that list, more things popped into my head. But anyway, so it's a wild ride. It's really fun. And if you have any questions, yeah, just shoot me an email. My email address is on my website too, skfitlifechallenge@stephaniekeenan.com. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you today. If any of you are interested in getting assistance from either Stephanie or myself, Stephanie is stephaniekeenan.com. I'm amberlillistrom.com. We would love to help you folks on your journeys because we've been there and we continue to be there. It's an ongoing process. There is no end to it. It's just a winding road, and it's one we're grateful to be on together. So thank you, my dear. I love you very much, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.